Are the accusations that Meghan Markle's a bully a smear campaign? Oh, hell no, they aren't. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and thanks to all you guys who watched my exposed video about Meghan Markle with her staff. It was one of the highest performers over on Popcorn Planet. I wanted to follow up, and I wanted to bring in an expert. So happy to have Kinsey Schofield here honoring us during Royals Guest Week. Kinsey, so honored to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Andy. As you know, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, Kinsey had me on her show, To Die For. You should check it out. It's an amazing podcast. The To Die For podcast is over on Spotify, and folks can see you on YouTube as well, Kinsey Schofield. I'm going to put a link to that. Let's get her YouTube numbers up in addition to her podcast, which I know a lot of you listen to. Thanks for having me on. It was such a blast talking to you. I'm honored to have you here because, look, I see you all over the news. When I'm rooting around finding my stories, they're literally headlines built around what you say, Kinsey. I don't know if you realize how intense it's getting out there, but I love it. I love seeing you out there, and I love you explaining a lot of this to me. And I'm honored to have you here because I wanted to follow up on this bullying claim. As I've been looking into it, it seems pretty clear cut, but obviously we have to be careful who sources are, where these things are coming from. And as someone who has documented, written about, and reported on the Royals for a while here, I thought it'd be great to actually have your insight on this. So let's start here. So it really came from, correct me if I'm wrong, just to sum it up, and then I'm going to hand it over to you. This Valentine Lowe is a journalist, and he wrote a book called Courtiers. And this was a very best-selling book that sort of really unveiled a lot. And he's the one who's out there really sort of saying this is nonsense, this idea that, oh, this is just a bullying leak, they made it up, is complete nonsense. It's true. There's a clip we're going to play, guys, to show you her squirming when the question's asked. A lot of this came out through him. Is he a reliable source? Let's start there. Who is Valentine Lowe, and why should we trust him?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'd say the very first time I had heard, I think Valentine Lowe gave his accusations blew up because it was right in the middle of the Oprah Winfrey interview that stopped the world literally. But we very first heard about accusations where Meghan felt like she was being disrespected or unliked by her staff. Honestly, in the Crazy Days and Nights blog, where he said that she was being a diva, and NT the lawyer said she was being a diva, and that she felt like everyone hated her, and they probably did. Then cut to the very first time I heard a royal expert say it was Tom Quinn in a book where he talked about palace staff. And Tom Quinn, he didn't go into too many details, but he did say that Meghan felt like she was treated like she was lower on the totem pole, and she really resented that. And that she was kind of derogatory towards staff. She would talk down to them, and she just demanded an amount of respect that the palace staff felt like needed to be earned. Hi, you're the new girl, and you're being really critical of us. And I think that Valentine Lowe was the first author to go as far as to say people were quitting and people were crying over her behavior. And then Harry basically confirms some of these accusations in Spare when he talks about employees crying at their desks. But Valentine Lowe legitimized the bullying accusations because he starts to discuss it right when Harry and Meghan are about to appear on Oprah Winfrey. And Harry and Meghan fight back by accusing this of a smear campaign to divert attention away from their big Oprah Winfrey interview that they were so excited about. And they threatened to sue Valentine Lowe over this article. This is just as he's teasing the publication. The article comes out. Harry and Meghan, who we know are very litigious, don't follow through, don't sue. And Valentine collects enough information to create the book Courtiers, where he discusses employees of the palace that go way back, but specifically some of these bullying accusations. Meghan saying within right at the beginning of her relationship with Harry, her saying to one of Harry's employees, I'm going to be your boss one day, and trying to control the situation that way. I'm going to be your boss one day, after just dating him for a few months. And so Valentine Lowe goes into other employees that there was a big farewell for them. Oh, they're retiring because they want to go be with their husband, or they want to spend more time with their family. And then we actually see that employee not just quit Harry and Meghan's camp, but go to work for Prince William and Catherine. So the big goodbye was all a lie to try to hide the fact that they didn't feel like they were treated properly by Harry and Meghan.
It's interesting, just because you brought in Prince William, and I wanted to make a point. Like, they even awarded one of these aides who accused her of this. So even it's interesting there. You'd think like, well, all right, let's not if this was not true. But no, they're rewarding the person who came forward accusing her of being a bully.
Right. And this was Jason Kanoff, who had written to higher ups saying that he was really worried about Meghan's behavior. Again, this is a Valentine Low revelation, I believe, saying that he was really, it was not only a Valentine Low revelation, but this was in court documents, because Harry and Meghan had insisted that they had not worked with Omid Scobie on the book Finding Freedom. And so Omid testified that Harry and Meghan did not work with them on Finding Freedom. And Jason Kanoff came forward and said, actually, we kind of did, gave all of these emails as evidence, and basically, testifying against Harry and Meghan's word that they didn't work with Omid Scobie on Finding Freedom. Come to find out, Jason has emails documenting that they did want to have some say in Finding Freedom, giving Jason permission to talk to Omid Scobie. And, in all of this chaos of all of these emails being passed around as evidence, and people having to pour through these, they find this email thread between Jason Kanoff, his bosses, that are inevitably forwarded to Prince William, that say they're really concerned about Meghan Markle's behavior towards staff, that it's unacceptable, and it's, on the verge of abusive. William goes and talks to Prince Harry about this. Harry documents this in Spare, and Harry alleges that they got into a physical fight over it. And to me, I'm just saying, if Prince William is so intense about this argument that he's having with you, there's a pretty strong likelihood that he believes the accusations, or something has been presented to him to make him believe these accusations. If he's going to come at you and break your necklace, thoughts and prayers, you imagine that Prince William really believes those accusations. So there's a lot more proof that the bullying happened than there's any proof that it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's fascinating, all this. There's so much more to the story than Meghan and Harry are wanting to allude. And what's interesting is you don't really hear from William and Catherine and all them, because they're not out there doing Oprah interviews and writing books. I want to play this clip quickly because I think it's very telling. It's rough listening to her. I got to be honest. The more I hear her in interviews, the more I'm just like, I believe it all. So here she is in some talk show, and it's sort of around, I guess this was around after the bullying accusations come out. Just listen to this.
Here, and it's like, you're bigger than life just walking in.
So he calls her out. Oh my God, you walk in, it's like you're bigger than life. And she's instantly offended. You can just see her, what?
Is that how you felt just now?
Yes.
No,
I mean, the whole place lit up. Absolutely.
That's why. Well, we don't get out much, so I don't personally feel that way. I still see myself as the same that I've always been, right? I've always been a hard worker. I have always,
Gotta love employees that always just say how much of a hard worker they are.
The people that know me well, and some of them are here today, I've just always been the same. And so
all these people that I'm going to tell you are saying these nice things about me.
I think Melody's point is a really strong one, in that the perception might be different, but if you are really grounded in who you are, in your ethics and your values, and I don't know, I show up in the same way that I always have.
So yeah, he clearly saw it a certain way, and you're trying to deflate it because you don't want to seem like this big person.
I've read great things about you as a boss, and if you read the tabloids, you can read all sorts of crazy things about it being a boss. Do you feel like you have to do it differently? And do you, specifically given your role, do you feel like you have to do it differently?
Nice way to get that in there. Like, 'cause he's got to be nice.
You a jerk?
He's got to, like, I can't really ask her these weird salacious things, but I'll eke it in like it's bad, and gives her a chance. Is she going to address it?
Well, firstly, I would urge you not to read tabloids, because I don't think that's healthy for anyone. Hopefully one day they come with a warning label like cigarettes do, like, this is toxic for your mental health.
Oh, wow. So she just completely negated it. Nothing I mean, look, tabloids can be obviously toxic. She's right. but that
But where
doesn't
there's
mean that
smoke,
every
there's
time.
usually fire, Andy. Where there's
Exactly. I was
smoke,
gonna
there's
say
usually
that
fire.
sometimes it also means sometimes there's something there that needs to be looked into, and she just told you never read it. Never read it. It's always wrong.
Right.
I think that the way that I have now moved as my husband and I have started to build this together on our own, we're just
But then she noticed she started with I.
Always. I mean,
Quickly
go listen to-
adjusted.
just doing it the
Go
same
listen
way
to-
that we would
Go
want
listen-
if we were employees of it, right? So to treat people the way you want to be treated, that is always how I've moved. I used to work on a TV series for 7 years.
Right.
That was a crew of over 200 people, right? So the way that you are when you're with a huge environment is no different than you are when you're with a small company. But it's been really interesting. It's great to be in New York and be able to be with so many of our team in person.
It's so weird. She's like trying to play like she was the boss on that set. You were like number probably 15 on the call sheet. But anyway, you were
Literally,
going to say something, Kinsey. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you watch any of her award shows where she's accepting a trophy, you lose count of how many times she starts a sentence with I. You know, if you're standing there and you're accepting an award for a lifetime of service or a lifetime of feminist pursuits or whatever, stand up there and say, Gloria Steinem, Oprah Winfrey, blah, blah, blah. You inspired me. I want to make sure that I use this time to highlight Archwell Charity. I want to make sure I use this time to highlight Make-A-Wish. But she will sit there and go, as a young girl, I always thought, I wondered, I dreamed. And it's like, oh my God, make it about anything but yourself. And I think that that's what people have such a hard time with. Harry and Meghan have been blessed with this incredible platform. And instead of utilizing that, like Harry's mother, and instead of using that platform to magnify meaningful efforts in the world or to change the world, they seem to be fixated on the negative. They seem to want to just rehash the 17 months she was a member of the British royal family, and they don't seem to want to do anything that could really shake up the world and make it a better place. And so, you know, that idea of treat people the way you want to be treated, I've heard from so many people that say they felt this big when they dealt with Meghan, this big, that she didn't make them feel like they, you know, could you know, were an important person to her, or they were so petrified of bringing their ideas to her because they didn't want to be chastised. But you know what he said, what that host said, and I apologize that I don't know his name. I've also heard that when she walks into a room, she is light, that she, you know, all attention is directed towards her, that she has this, maybe it's a movie star appeal. I don't know how to describe it, but I've also heard that too, that she is a force.
It's interesting. I mean, yeah. So all these claims come in. She's clearly an actress, Hollywood vibe, like that. It's clear. And just in hearing any little short interviews, it's true. You hear the eyes, you hear a lot of just prepared stuff and avoiding, you know, don't read this, don't. I mean, everything you just said would be defined as toxic tabloid garbage, which is just offensive to you and all your reporting and all that you do. But here's where I guess the final question for this segment. We'll do more with Kinsey over on Popcorn Palace. But do you think they are protecting her still? Like, do you think there's a reason why they haven't just put this out there to sort of just finally throw him on the bus? Is it to protect Harry? Why do you think they are keeping all this private? I mean, is that just royal protocol? Should they finally put this out there to nip it in the bud and prove that it's, you know, they're the ones that are lying? What are your thoughts?
Here are my thoughts. I think that it was a different regime when Queen Elizabeth II was alive, and that her ultimate objective was to calm things down. She wanted to leave the world knowing that the palace was in safe hands, that the palace and the future of the monarchy was protected with King Charles, with Prince William, and with Prince George. I think she did, because I do think things had calmed down a bit. They wanted to stop the grenades coming their way. They wanted to stop. I mean, she did, but at the same time, here comes Spare, Todger talk. But, you know, I do think that her ultimate objective was to try to bring peace to the situation.
You're talking the Queen.
Yes, the Queen.
So now with the Queen out of the picture, are you thinking that's going to change?
A part of me wonders if this is something that they're holding up their sleeve in case things are to get really ugly. And, could there be a potential leak of the result of this bullying report, a third-party investigation that the palace hired a third party to look into these accusations that Meghan was a bully? We've never seen the results. Could that ever be leaked to shut the Sussexes down? Absolutely. I mean, this could be just something people are holding on to in case of emergency. Also, I also think that to me, Harry and Meghan have become white noise, especially to the Prince and Princess of Wales. I really just think that they are so over it and kind of embarrassed for them. And so they're not looking in the rearview mirror the way Harry and Meghan seem obsessed with.
Fascinating. Yeah, there's tons more I want to ask Kinsey, and we're going to go do that. In fact, if you liked hearing from Kinsey and what she had to say, go subscribe to her To Die For Daily Royal podcast over on Spotify. You can find it in other audio platforms. You can also follow her over on Instagram. There she is. And on YouTube. Go support Kinsey. Are you down to stay for more? Let's talk some more royalty, shall we?
Yay.
Yes. All right. Go subscribe to all the channels here and over on Popcorn Palace, where part 2 will be. It's Royal Guest Week. We're filling up all the royalty on both channels just so I could take this week off. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think. Do you believe these bullying reports? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And join us over on Popcorn Palace for part 2 with Kinsey and I. Oh, it's going to get spicy.